What's up, everyone? Happy Friday to you out there. I don't know if this is news. I really don't know what to take of this right now. Could it be some leaked news? Possibly.
Three, two, one.
And we're going to dive into this here tremendously to weigh out some variables with this. First off, I just want to say thank you to everybody who commented on the last episode. I really can't tell you how much it meant to me, how much it means to me. Man, it's a tough journey. I'm not going to lie about it. It's a lot of work for one person. I appreciate everybody who supports the channel, and it really makes me feel good. Believe me. That's why I try to answer everybody's comments. So thank you so much. You keep me inspired. Let's just say that. And I'm here today. So thank you so much. But to talk about this news right here, every morning when I get up, let's just put it this way. Every morning when I get up, I click open my laptop to check out some things, work on some things. And usually as soon as I click on YouTube, the first thing I see is Kenny Wallace with his Coffee with Kenny. No different this morning. And by the way, nice mug there, Kenny. But he was talking today about some things that raised some interest in me, caused a lot of, I'm seeing some things in his comments from people talking about things with this. And this was about the possibility of a brand new team, a 37th charter in 2026. And what he was saying was this is Legacy Motor Club, who is going to have another charter for next year. Now, the first thing that hit my mind was I kind of already knew this because there was an ongoing battle with Rick Ware Racing and Legacy. It's a very interesting story. Sure you know about it. If you don't, quick follow-up with this right here. Legacy had a deal to purchase a charter from Rick Ware Racing that, in their opinion, was for 2026. Rick Ware said, nope, that was for after the season for 2027. Lawsuits ensued. In the end, Legacy gets the charter. Now, the interesting thing about this is this charter has been leased to RFK. And apparently through the negotiations and everything with the lawsuit, it will stick with RFK, who, again, will still need to find a charter for 2027 for Ryan Preece. So there's going to be interesting topics with this in the future and everything else. But it's the question right now. Is there something to this? And again, people, even my own initial instinct was, well, that's that charter that was in the lawsuit. But hold up a minute. Because it wasn't just a couple months ago here in August, late August, when NASCAR brought up in the middle of their trial with 2311 and Front Row Motorsports that they were in an agreement to transfer a charter. Could this be happening? Could this be something that's actually going on right now? I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I don't follow that lawsuit that deeply because it's annoying to me. I know a lot of people love just to spin this around and talk about it all the time. I don't. I like to talk about racing, not all that bullshit. But what if there is a new charter? What if there is a new charter going to Legacy Motor Club? This would be interesting because when you go back to look at the topics of this when it first come out, Daniel Suarez was a big name. There was a possibility linked to go to Legacy Motor Club. Obviously, you got Corey Heim out there too, who's in the Toyota fold, who just seems like you'd want to bring up to get full-time in a cup car. But again, there's Daniel Suarez out there. And now with the release of Justin Haley at Spire, the name right there again is Daniel Suarez. So if this was the case, if this was something that was actually going on, could Daniel Suarez end up in the greatest spot of his life right now? Could this be the biggest blessing of getting fired by Trackhouse to have a possible bidding war for you to come in? Because we know he's got good sponsors. Man, I'm going to tell you, I used to be Daniel's body double. I sat in on a couple conversations that, well, I ain't going to say I sat in. Let's just say I was sitting next to him at lunch when I heard some of these things. But I'm going to tell you, Coca-Cola, they love Daniel. And I'm sure they'll pump a lot of money into him. He's got a lot of good sponsors. So he could be a very viable asset for a lot of teams. So it's going to be interesting to see if there is some kind of battle to make Daniel come out smelling like a rose in this whole situation. And but again, time's going to tell. But it's an interesting topic. What do you think? Do you think Kenny was just off with this, or do you think maybe he's got a little insight that maybe shouldn't have got out yet, but did? Now this brings me over again to Justin Haley, because obviously big talk about him getting fired out there. And it's interesting because he's had a very strong connection in the past with Kaulig Racing. And Chris Rice was on Sirius XM's Morning Drive talking about they would love to bring in Justin into the fold at Kaulig again if they could find room. And when you go back through the history and look at it, Justin ran 3 full-time seasons with Kaulig in the Xfinity Series, 2 full seasons in the Cup Series. So obviously there was a big connection with him. But just like with Spire, he had a big connection with Spire, and we've seen it didn't pan out. But the interesting thing about this is that, Chris Rice said if there's a place that we can do this, we consider him part of the family, and we'd like to have him back in there if we got room. And this is what I find interesting about all this stuff, because, they're going to the Truck Series with 5 teams for 2026. Ram behind them. Ram pumping in money behind them. And right now they got one driver listed, and that's Butterbean Queen there, who, man, I see as a threat right out the gate with this. But they're also saying that they already have their drivers in line for who's going to be in this Truck Series. And it sounds like they're saying it all across the board, that they have drivers lined up. But there's still some things that got to fall into place for this. So now that's interesting to me to see who's going to be the other drivers on the list. I know everybody out there is interested in Cletus McFarland's name getting attached to this. So that's going to be interesting if that happens. I don't know, man. We got to look at the Xfinity Series with Kaulig right now. Because you look at it, Dodge is looking to come back into the Cup Series. All expectations are for them to be there in 2027. So again, could this be something for Justin Haley, where in the end, he could come out smelling like a rose with this situation, if he could find a footprint in Kaulig Racing again? Because they get them Cup teams, pretty sure there's going to be more than one team out there. And then you got this veteran driver right here who could possibly come over there to the Cup Series with him. I know there's people already in these rides and everything else, but it's questionable how long AJ is going to be considering continuing his career. Different aspects. So it could be interesting to see him come out very beneficial with this whole situation. There's also been talk about Kaulig downsizing their Xfinity Series in so many ways. And Chris Rice went on to say they got like 74 cars, chassis for Xfinity cars sitting around, that they want to keep on doing this right here. So there's the questions of next year. So they got the 10, 11, and the 16 in the Xfinity Series. Daniel Dyes in the 10. A lot of talk about him being linked to going to the Truck Series for Kaulig. Or could the team possibly go away? Then we got the 11 car, who Josh Williams was released. And Butterbean is getting in there. So is it possible Justin gets in that car for next year? According to Chris Rice, they may already have somebody in there. But who knows again? Who knows how this is all going to play out? But it's just a lot of interesting information right here to take in. And man, I'm just going to tell you, I'm excited to see who gets in all these rides right here, and to see the process, the programs of what's going to be in place for this next year. And you also got to look at Kaulig's going on their own now. Going on their own, separating from RCR, where the team has been housed, and going into their own new facilities. They're hiring like crazy. I believe they've hired like 10 new people already, with engineers coming in to replace the technology and stuff that they were getting with RCR. So they're expanding. And this is going to be really interesting to see how this plays out, because that truck program is going to be a catalyst for who they put in the Cup Series. And again, could Justin Haley be in this fold to possibly be in one of those Dodges when they do debut in the Cup Series? But anyways, what do you think about all this? Is Kenny right? Does he know something that nobody else knows, or is he just mistaken? Interesting in so many aspects. And who do you think are these other drivers for Kaulig in this Truck Series? I know everybody wants Cletus out there, which apparently, according to Kenny too, the infield at Talladega is just blowing out this past weekend or this weekend with people coming in. You kind of have to think that's a little bit of a nod to Cletus for talking about boobs and beer and everything else that takes place down there in the infield at Talladega. So, again, I think he's putting his impact into this series. And being in the truck series would obviously benefit NASCAR in a lot of ways. So, anyways, throw them thoughts down there. And once again, I appreciate everybody who commented on the last episode. Again, man, this is a tough journey. I want to be doing this full time by 2026. That's my plan. It's been my goal all along to be able to put out at least 5 good episodes of things that other people aren't talking about throughout the 2026 season. Maybe even bring somebody else in on the show with me and just advance in every aspect. So stick with me. Support this channel. Leave the comments. Leave the likes. That's what really matters. Apparently now there's hype buttons. I don't know, because for whatever reason, YouTube, I don't see hype buttons. I guess I'm left out of this advantage of different things right now to hype up anybody else's video. But for whatever reason, I don't know. I ain't going to get into all that stuff. But throw them comments down below. Thank you once again. And as always, we'll see you at the checkered flag.